Hello, farmers, and welcome to the harvest season. My name is Al.
My name is Kevin, last time I checked.
And we're here today to talk about farming games.
Are we, though? I feel like whenever I'm on, it's always the most tangential farming, just the weakest link.
Look, have you looked at the list of news? There are farming game news all over the place, right?
This is actual farming game. I will give you credit for that.
So yeah, we have...
Why are there so many farming game newses?
I don't know.
Why?
I really don't know. When I think it must have been 3 years ago when we first started thinking about this podcast, and we specifically chose to do farming games rather than Stardew or any specific game. And my wife was like, "Oh, will you have enough news to talk about that on a fortnightly basis?" And I'm like, "Oh, yes, we have." And it's even more than I thought it would be. So yeah, today we're gonna start off by talking about what we've been playing. We're gonna go through all of the news. We've obviously had a bunch of news because of E3 and the Wholesome Direct.
That was the setup, Al. That was a setup.
And then, that's where you were going, right? Fair enough. And then we're going to have a little chat. I want to talk to Kevin about whether or not they're finished with Animal Crossing New Horizons or not. But we'll get to that in due time. First of all, Kevin, what have you been playing?
Not too much, to be honest. Like, I feel like the way I play games, I kind of go on bursts and rotations. I'm very bad about sticking with the game until I'm done. Just because so much new stuff comes up or my mood changes or whatever. So
I know
a lot of the same as last time, really. I chip away at Sakuna, Nexomon, Breath of the Wild. But all that's kind of taken a backseat because lately I've gotten the itch for card games, man. the Pokemon, the Digimon, the degenerate Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh man, I love card games. We played some card games. You got a little bit of
we did,
itch too.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Yeah,
I actually had my Elite Trainer box for Chilling Reigns arrive today. I haven't opened it up yet, but
ooh, stream it. That's content. But yeah, no, card. I love card games. I've been playing them for, gosh, I would say 2 decades now. I just adore them, and yeah. But that's that's for our second podcast. The card game one. I was trying to come up with a clever name. I couldn't. But anyways, yeah, that's it. Not too much. I got a lot going on. I'm looking for a new job and looking to buy a new vehicle. So real life is the real game right now.
Real life. It's overrated.
Yes. What about you, Al? What you got going on?
As you mentioned, I've also been playing a lot of Pokemon trading card game. Yes, we're recording this for context the day after Chilling Reigns comes out. So yesterday I had saved up 6,000 coins on PTCGO, and so I just blew it all on booster packs and got a whole bunch of stuff.
6,000! Holy moly, that's a lot. I'm at 2K, and I thought that was a lot.
You got to play those events. You get if you get through to like the final, you get 200 or 400 coins depending on which type it is. And yeah, so I got a whole bunch in there, and I've got the physical stuff as well. So I've been it's funny, I come back to the trading card game every so often, but I feel like this is the hardest I've gone into it. Where I'm actually looking at strategies and properly building decks.
So. You're in it now. See, once you cross that line, that's it, man. You're in for life. Well, I say that, but it's actually quite easy to get out because they rotate stuff. But
you just stop doing stuff.
Are you going to try physical? You're gonna go IRL?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously, just now it's difficult because of everything. Once things calm down a bit, I might look at whether there's some local stuff and do that. I don't see me trying to like properly get into any tournaments or anything.
All right, sure. But I'm talking like just your local.
Yeah, I might do that.
Yeah.
I'll go to one of the pre-releases, that sort of stuff. See what happens.
Yeah.
Um,
I might as well. I've gone pretty hard in right now too. I bought my first ever booster box.
yeah.
Um, and I went all in. That's it's fun. It's interesting. But it's as someone who's played a lot of card games, it's interesting to see like Pokemon is relatively cheap if you want it to be, like quite cheap.
Yeah.
There's expensive stuff, but a lot of that's like the alternate arts and super rare, the really rare stuff or whatever. But they offer it usually at a really more common rarity. But that's talking from someone who will like go online and look for individual cards to buy to build a deck or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, card games, it's good. It's addicting.
What else have I been doing? I've been playing the Switch version of Alba, a wildlife adventure. So I'm about maybe halfway through that. Probably get another couple of days of time into that. That's probably about it. Oh no, I tell you what else. I have been obsessing over Beat Saber just now. I got a Quest.
Oh, that's the VR game, right?
Yeah, I got an Oculus Quest 2, and they are so good. I cannot even. It's the sort of thing. Have you tried one at all?
VR. I have tried a handful of VR games. My sister got the PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
So very limited experience. I haven't tried Beat Saber. I'm familiar with the name, but I'm not, and I know it's quality, but I don't know. Give me the elevator pitch. What is it?
Yeah, so it's a rhythm game. It's basically you've got lightsabers and you're smashing into blocks that come towards you. It's like if Guitar Hero, but you're hitting the blocks rather than hitting a guitar.
Okay.
It's really good fun. But also I would say that so I had the PSVR as well, and it was fine, but I had a bunch of issues with it where because you've got a camera that you have to point at yourself, you can kind of come out of the camera zone and stuff like that, and you're obviously tethered to the PlayStation. It was just a bit frustrating. With the Quest 2, it's completely wireless. And
really? Wow.
Yeah, and it has cameras on it, so it's kind of figuring out where you are from you, so you're never really out of its viewpoint. And also you can set up a safe zone in your physical surroundings, and if you go close to the edge or if you go through it, it'll warn you and be like, oh, you're passing through it. So you can actually clear a space for yourself, mark it in the VR headset, and just be like, I'm confident that until it warns me, I'm not going to hit anything because I'm just within this safe. So it's so good.
Wow, that sounds pretty advanced.
It's really, really
that's
good.
pretty cool.
So yeah, I spent about 2 hours in playing Beat Saber yesterday. So
good stuff. What the Quest? What is that, like Steam? Is that what it works with, or
it's no? So it's got its own thing. So it's Oculus, which is owned by Facebook. So the annoying thing is you have to have a Facebook account, but it has it own store, and you can buy stuff from that. You can sideload stuff onto it, but obviously that's the usual nonsense with voiding warranties and stuff like that. But
yeah.
It's really good, and there's loads of stuff in the store. I think it's kind of the kind of gold standard just now, which is really good.
Sounds like it with just the hardware alone.
Yeah. But it is also not a ridiculously expensive. Obviously, it is VR, so it's not cheap, but it's £300 or something, which is really good. Down from because I think the original Oculus was 1,000, and you had to plug it into a computer. Yeah, exactly. It's come down a lot in price.
Yeah, well, the original Oculus was an early one, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think, but yeah, it's interesting to see how far VR has come. I think the super fad kind of has died out, but it's still not completely dead. And it'll be interesting to see how it continues to grow, if it does well.
Yeah. Cool. So that's a lot of stuff we've been playing. Shall we talk about some news?
All right. Yeah, sure.
So, loads of news. Obviously, listeners, you may or may not know that we've just had E3, and within E3 was the Wholesome Direct, which had a bunch of stuff. Although some of this news is not from that, some just happened. But we'll start off with Garden Story. So this is the game where you're playing as a grape. This has
really got
a new trailer, and we got the information that it will be releasing in 2021. So we don't have any more specific. Oh no, summer 2021. Sorry. So that could be any time, I guess, until September. They're quite liberal with their with their seasons game releases normally are.
Yeah.
So.
And even if they were more accurate, delays are always, very feasible. So
yeah,
that's always with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I think I would feel pretty confident in this one though, because they delayed from a year ago. They were meant to be spring 2020, and then they got a bunch of extra funding and said, okay, we're probably going to release next year, and then that's them just saying summer. So I would feel reasonably confident in that one.
Yeah.
And they're planning on releasing
I do too.
PC and Switch at the same time as well.
Looking at the trailer, it looks done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for context, because I don't always remember these names, so I'm just looking over the trailer, it's very Stardew-like.
Yes.
You play as a grape, though. And it looks a little more action-y than Stardew, which is fun. And it's just all around pretty adorable. Because that grape is adorable. But yeah, I'll probably, since it's coming to Switch, I may very well try it. Because, everything's better on the Switch.
Absolutely. I like it when they release on Switch at the same time, because then it means I just buy the game once.
Yeah.
Next, we have some information about Sunhaven. So Sunhaven was going to be releasing it was originally going to be releasing in May, and then they delayed it till the 25th of June. And we've just got the information that this release will be an early access release.
Okay.
Now, the reason I word it like that is there had been no indication that this was happening. Like the release was always talked about as a release, not as an early access release.
Yeah.
It's not inherently a bad thing. I guess I've got two issues with this. One, why wasn't this mentioned before? Like, it's not like this just happened, right? It's not like they just went, oh, it's time, we're going to go early access. We just suddenly decided. Or if they had, I feel like maybe a bit more information about why that's happened might have been nice. I have no issues with delays and stuff like that. It's more about getting the information. And the second thing is, presumably, that means the Switch version isn't coming out on the 25th of June.
Oh, yeah. Oh, heavens no.
It's fine, again, these things not coming out at the same time. And they always said that Switch might get delayed from the release of PC. But this is literally the first information we've heard about it. And it was like 2 weeks before release that they really mentioned it.
Oh, that's rough. Yeah, like obviously everyone deserves a little slack because of, pandemic, but information, the transparency is super key. To me, it sounds like this is their delay essentially, and then they're trying to soften the blow with an early access. But yeah, that time frame, 2 weeks before release, that's rough. Yeah, but and pity too, because looking at the trailer and images, it's interesting. It's like more fantasy. Again, Stardew Valley, it's hard not to compare. But it's, you got bird people and dragons and mythological type critters.
Yeah.
So it looks interesting, but that's a darn shame that it's going to be delayed like this and without much explanation.
Yeah, I don't. As I say, like we've mentioned this before, I have no issues with delays. I'd much rather people delay than we got a good game or a better game released.
Yeah,
I get it's just the lack of information, and then suddenly, it's going to be early access. I don't know whether I'd prefer early access or just a plain delay. I don't know how I feel about that. But it is what it is, I guess. They say there's approximately 6 months left of work, which presumably means that I shouldn't make this assumption. I don't know whether the Switch version will come out then or whether it will be even later than that. I think part of the issue is they're just not mentioning the Switch at all. And there have been some people asking questions on the update on Kickstarter, and there's no mention of, they're not answering any of those questions. That's my issue. Like, if you don't know when it's coming out, at least tell us that, There's just complete radio. There's not, if you search for the word Switch, the only results in this are in the comments, and it's not from any of them. It's all people asking the question. So,
yeah, of course.
Just want a bit more information, really.
Yeah. But I mean, hopefully it pans out in the end.
Yeah.
But it sucks. But they're certainly not the only ones.
No, of course. Speaking of delays,
Yeah.
Rune Factory 5, the game that I think was originally meant to come out in 2020, the Western release, the non-Japanese release, is now scheduled to come out in 2022. So
It's a bit of a delay.
yeah, I think the Japanese version came out in May this year. So it sounds like the localization is going to take quite a while. That seems like quite a long, because that could be up to a year after release. Saying early 2022, so maybe like February, March. But even that's like what, 10 months delay?
Yeah, but at least it's coming. So that's I mean, it's a weird place. I mean, us being, Nintendo fans and such, we're no strangers to this. Like, how many years did Pokemon release in Japan a year before here in the West?
Yeah.
But I will say this: the game looks pretty good. Like, just remembering its original humble beginnings as a Harvest Moon spin-off.
Yeah.
It looks pretty it's so dynamic. It's 3D and
it looks
cool.
and it's like the graphics are, I mean, they're not the most amazing graphics, but they certainly look decent rather than just kind of, PS2 era graphics that some of these games' first 3D version can be,
Yeah. Yeah, especially out of the context of this podcast, the games we see here. This is some high-end stuff here. But yeah, and hey, you can ride this sheep. That's fun.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the trailer.
They're also still keeping the lovely stacking of crops when you pick them, which is just ridiculous. The fact that you can carry a stack of 10 and it shows you them carrying all 10 of them.
Yeah.
They also have the conversation art. I can't remember there's like a name for that, where you've got like art when you're having a conversation. There's like a specific terminology for that.
I know what you mean, and I don't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, when there's conversation, it shows like a portrait. Yeah, I don't know, something like that.
They look really nice, but the funny thing is, I'm specifically looking at one screen where you're talking to someone, Lucy, and they've got the conversation art on the right, and then you're actually seeing them in the game, their model in the middle. The conversation art looks so much nicer than the model.
Oh yeah. Oh no, that's why they do it. You got a little smoke screen to
but it looks really good.
Way. Yeah, no. And I'm no stranger to that. I play a good number of series that do that.
I think it's just so weird that you're zoomed into the model. So like you're seeing this model really close up and it doesn't look great. Whereas the whole point is like showing you the conversation art, because you're like maybe seeing it from further out. You want to see their facial expressions.
Okay, wait. I found the screen you're saying. Oh man, that like it doesn't. The 3D model doesn't even look bad. It just looks like different. I don't know. It's the lighting or something. The colors look off. But whatever. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I don't know whether I'll like it or not. Having not liked Rune Factory 4S, but we'll see. Speaking of Rune Factory 4S, we have got the information that it's coming to PS4 and Xbox One in the autumn of 2021. So if you wanted to play it, but you didn't want to play it on Switch, there you go.
That's the one that was on 3DS originally? Am I misremembering?
Yes, you are correct.
Hats off to them. That's some mileage.
It's quite impressive, like going from 3DS to Switch to PS4 and Xbox One. I find it funny that it's specifically PS4 and Xbox One. They've obviously been doing this for a while, and like obviously those will play on the newest consoles, but they're not specifically gone for PS5 and Xbox Series X, which is funny.
I mean, oh my gosh, can you that would be quite a task, porting the 3DS game to the PS5, utilizing all those capabilities. But hey, good for them.
They've already done all the hard work of translating it from two screens to one when they ported it to the Switch.
Yeah.
So they don't have to deal with any of that anymore, which is good.
Yeah. And these designs are really great. Like I've kind of never paid attention to Rune Factory, just minimally so, but looking at the trailers, there's pretty nice designs in here.
It was fine as a game. I just didn't really like how it worked. And it definitely because it's more of a port than it is a remaster. It feels kind of dated. It's not like Rune Factory
Sure.
5 looks and feels modern and like a modern game. So that's probably part of the issue.
Yeah. But yeah. So Rune Factory is a Harvest Moon spin-off, and Harvest Moon goes by Story of Seasons, which leads us to
That's an interesting roundabout way of getting to that. I was just going to say, speaking of games that are being ported to PS4 and Xbox One.
if you want to take the easy route.
Well, we have also got the information that Story of Seasons Friends of Mineral Town, that is the new version of the original Harvest Moon Friends of Mineral Town, is also coming to PS4 and Xbox One in the autumn of 2021.
And it looks great.
Yep. Probably not much to say about this one.
Yep, it looks great. That's it.
It's probably a
There
very
you go.
niche group of people who want to play this game because they have the nostalgia for the original game, but they didn't want to play it on Switch. And okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. You got it on your PS4 and Xbox One then. Enjoy.
Yep.
Snacko, the fun cat farming game. That makes it sound like you're farming cats. You're not farming cats. You are a cat and you're farming.
That's a different game. I don't know. But it should be.
Farming cats out of the ground. It's
Yeah.
kind of Ooblets-like, right? They're not cats,
yeah,
but
yeah, there you go. It's the
Anyway,
farming cat venture.
yes. We have got some exciting information that Snacko is confirmed coming to Switch. Woo!
Woo, that's always exciting.
And it will be releasing in 2022 now. They had originally estimated August of 2021, but it sounds like they want to release on Switch at the same time and tidy things up a bit more, which means delaying until 2022,
Yeah,
which is fine.
good. I'll take
Happy
that.
with that.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, delays are always appreciated as long as they're clear and in good time. But
Yep.
yeah, this looks fun. So I'll actually might give this a try if I remember when it comes out. Because those are adorable looking cats. I also like, for people who haven't seen it, it's got an interesting art style where you got 3D, but also like the characters and animals are all pixelated, but still kind of 3D.
Yes,
it's walking around.
I feel like the best way to explain it is kind of Paper Mario-esque.
That's exactly what came to mind. But just instead of paper, they're like pixel art. But yeah, it's like these flat characters on these 3D looking backgrounds.
Yeah.
It looks good. Looks cool. I like it, and they're all adorable.
Absolutely. I've been looking forward to this game for a while, so it's great to see that it's coming to Switch. And if you have backed it on Kickstarter, you can convert your PC code into a Switch code. If you there's complications around the fact that you can't technically, as a creator, give a free code to someone for the Switch. You actually have to pay for codes, whereas on Steam, you just get the codes and give them to people. So you can't. It's because they don't want you selling to people outside of the store and then making no money. But anyway, because of that, it costs them more money to make the game or get the game to you for Switch. So if you pledged the $20 or $25 one on Kickstarter, they will ask for, there's a small upgrade fee to get the Switch one. But if you did the $45 or higher levels, you'll get that converted for free. So I don't think the cost will be a huge amount, but that is that for people. I will definitely be doing it.
Yeah.
I've got to get that Switch version.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I'm not a big PC gamer in general, but like,
yeah,
even the Switch is great, man. Everyone loves the Switch.
Definitely. Bear and Breakfast. We got a new trailer and some information about the hints towards the story, and also a demo is out now as part of the, what do they call it, Next Fest on Steam.
Sure, I don't follow Steam that much, but yeah, there is a demo. I'm actually looking forward to this game a lot. The first time I heard about it was on a Nintendo Direct.
Yeah.
So, and we know it's coming to Switch at some point. And for people unfamiliar, you play as this bear. I think his name was Hank, and you run a little hotel bed and breakfast thing out in the woods as a bear.
Yeah. What's not
that
to
alone
love?
is exactly. The art's cute. It's adorable. Hank's adorable. And just I like management type games, like running shops
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And the fact that you do it as this bear, that's pretty adorable and fun. I'm very, very excited about this one.
It looks like it has some really good customization options as well. If you go onto Steam, there's some animations of them doing the what was the word I said? Customization.
Customizations. What are you customizing?
Rooms and furniture in your B&B.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, a little 2D Animal Crossing-esque type thing. But yeah, good stuff. Looking forward to Bear and Breakfast.
Definitely.
They got me.
Go watch the new trailer if you want to get the demo. Go do that. Looks great. Speaking of new trailers, One Lonely Outpost have also released a new trailer. I think this was also in the... Oh no, this one wasn't in the Wholesome Direct. They were in another thing on the Monday. I can't remember what it was. They have released a new trailer, which is... it's a live action trailer to start with.
Yeah,
really
so I'm
weird.
watching the trailer. There's a lot of live action. The trailer is 3 minutes, and 1 minute in, there's no actual game yet.
Yeah,
so, dude, some nice hair.
It's kind of ridiculous, but I also love it. And they've shown some more stuff within the game later in the trailer. Some information around how the story works out. Some more gameplay stuff, and it's coming to early access next year.
All right, let's see. It's cool. You're in space and space.
You're not just in space. You're on Mars.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay, cool. Oh man. Oh wow. The action part of this game. You're in a little robot and jumping and swinging and fighting little robots. That looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Let's do it. Mars Farm. One Lonely Outpost. That's the name of the game.
And
all right.
I'm looking forward to that one because I've backed that one on Kickstarter as well, so I'll look forward to that. It's really funny. I've got maybe like 15 to 20 farming games that I backed on Kickstarter in the last year, and they're just kind of slowly releasing over the next 3 years.
Well, there you go. Content. That's
how you get the content.
Each one of these, fun fact, people, each one of these announcements also came with the announcement of a future harvest season episode.
Well, I'm not so sure about the Rune Factory 4S and the Story Seasons Friends of Mineral Town. I'm not going to cover them again just because they're on PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah, okay, fair.
The Kickstarter for Cloudscape is now out. If you're listening to this, well, whether you're listening to this or not, once the episode has released, the Kickstarter will be out. So if you were interested in that one, you can go find that information. Link will be in the show notes as usual.
Let's see. Yeah.
You're a little cloud.
Yeah. That's kind of all I'm getting from this right now. You're a little cloud.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably some trailers somewhere that you can look at, but it's a gorgeous looking game. You're a little cloud and you're farming and you've combat and fishing and etc. etc.
This, just at a glance, this one actually, a few screenshots, it actually reminds me of almost like a Zelda 2D aesthetic, which is cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look forward to hearing about this once the Kickstarter starts, and we get to see what goes on with that.
Next, we have the information that Alba, a wildlife adventure, have won an Apple Design Award for social impact. So that's good.
Yeah, good for you, Alba. You did good.
Yeah, I mean, I find that these award shows are mostly nonsense, but it's nice when someone gets the recognition.
Yeah. Hey, they can put it on the box now, and maybe somebody will look at it and say, "Oh, look, that won an award. I'll buy it."
Yeah.
Alba deserved it. Alba's fine.
Oh, absolutely. Have you played it?
I have not. I listened to the episodes you guys did on it. But I meant to, but I don't know. Just one of those that it's low on the queue with all the other stuff I'm playing and watching.
So many games.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's really good. It's a really nicely designed game. And it does a good job of pushing an agenda, but not like in a bad way. It's done really nicely.
Yeah. No. And it's adorable,
We also have 3 games that I have heard of for the first time over the last week or so. The first one is called Yokai Inn. I don't know a huge amount about the yokais. I know it's a Japanese kind of creature, spirity type thing, and presumably,
basically yokai or Japanese cryptids, almost I would say they're. I think they're technically like spirits or ghosts, but there's so many varieties and do different things. They're like, I mean, look, man, my brother was into Yokai Watch,
yeah,
so I can't help but always get that little Pokemon vibe I hear about yokai or the word yokai,
yeah,
which is unfortunate because it's a bigger concept and other games can use in different ways, but
yeah.
But that's just what comes to mind.
Yeah, definitely. This is definitely because obviously based on the name, it's you're running an inn, but you're also befriending the yokai, and farming and fishing and cooking and crafting, etc. etc.
Yeah.
You know the drill. You know the drill.
Exactly. You're here. This is what you signed up for. I will say it looks like it's a isometric view. That's the word I think. Which you don't see that often. It's usually like full. It's like 2D or overhead, but that's kind of nice, and still it's all pixel art. It's beautiful pixel art. But hopefully it'll be cool.
One thing I would say is that there was a big controversy around the art style, in that people were saying that the art style of it looks very similar to another game. What was it? I can't remember which one it was. I've talked about it before, but anyway, and this kind of led to the creator of Yokai going, yeah, I understand the issue. I'll change the art style a bit. So.
That's a big thing.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I don't try to get too much into these things because I'm not a huge fan of like art style theft. I don't think that's really a thing. I don't think it makes any sense because everything builds off everything else. Say that something is too similar to me just feels a bit that feels dangerous.
Well, I need to see, like, I don't know what game they're referencing. Looking at the one image I see here, I can't. I don't know what they're comparing to, and what makes it tricky is that like this is pixel art, and as someone who dabbles in pixel art, you can definitely, there's lots of variety and styles in that one branch, but it also can be very easy to feel very samey to other games, especially in this super niche pixel art horror farming games. There's a lot of them.
So it looks like it was Frontier Story that they said it looked a bit too similar to. Let me just.
Okay, I'm googling this. Let's see here. I'm curious. Frontier Story.
I mean, it does look similar. It is also isometric. It's also pixel art, but it seems to be like the kind of color effect as well is very similar.
Yeah. Oh.
I kind of get it, but also I don't like it.
Oh man. Okay. Oh shoot. I need to hold on. I'm seeing one image. Okay, the link you posted with the Twitter has an image.
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second. I want to show you a different one. Real quick here. Because this is what I would call legally distinct. Cause the style is close, which is one thing, but the color palette, it's the Frontier Story has a lot of like browns and yellows, kind of amber fall looking, and Yokai Inn, I can definitely see that. That's rough, buddy.
I mean, this is the thing. Like, I definitely see that they're similar, but like, I don't.
I sent you the link. Just look at that picture.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
Like, I will say, okay, I certainly don't think this guy like was intending to steal or anything. The Yokai Inn people, I don't think they were intending to steal or anything or be malicious or anything like that. But I think it's probably in their best interest to be a lot more distinct too.
Yeah. Definitely. Especially with the issues that people were having with it. If people come and say this is too similar, even if you think, there's no issue here, there's still an issue if people think there's an issue. right? Like that's
Yeah.
going to cause issues. And as you say, if you look too similar to a game, people will just think it's the same game and not care
Yeah.
about finding out about this different looking game.
And it's not like looking at the two, I don't think it's the hardest thing in the world. Like I think just changing the color scheme alone would help a lot. Just make it bright and colorful or something. I don't know. But I wish them luck because that does kind of stink. But I think it's probably better for everyone if they do pivot a little there.
Yeah.
All right, what's next? Is the next also art thievery related?
The next one is a game called Princess Farmer. Be the magical bunny farmer you've always wanted to be. Princess Farmer is a charming visual novel meets match 3 gameplay with a host of adorable characters. I know, right? There's also there's a lot happening in this game. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, and like, is there? Let's see. I'm trying to see here. Is there like a trailer or a demo? Because I see one image.
There's a trailer on the Steam page.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, let's see here. Okay, but that's a lot. Like I still haven't seen the trailer, so I don't want to judge them. But I don't like buzzwordy things like that. But that's just me. I'm looking at the trailer now. The art is cute. I'll say that. Yeah. It's colorful. I do like 3 match games. I will say that. But it's just, all right. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I have to see more. But this sounds like a lot of things putting together into one game.
It does, but I think if it's done well, it could be good. You know, it might end up. I think with all these things, like the issue is not how much is in it; it's how well it's put together, right? Because you can always there are plenty of films, for example, right, that have loads of stuff in it, but it's really well paced, and then you have other things where there's just too much in it, and you're just like, this is just too much. What's happening?
Yeah.
So I think it depends.
Yeah. I will say each like component I'm looking at looks pretty good. Like the animations are pretty stellar, actually.
Yeah.
The art is a nice style. I like the colors and the designs. And like I said, I like 3 match games. So good for them. But yeah, all right. Good luck to them. For all you people who wanted to be bunny magical girl princesses, here's your avenue. Go for it.
And finally, the new game announced by the developers of Forager is Lost Nova. It's not really a farming game, so I don't want to spend too much time talking about it. I just know that we've talked about Forager a lot, and so people who like Forager might be interested in this. It looks like a very different game, but you might like it anyway. So there you go.
All right, yeah.
And it's an exploration game.
It looks cute. I'll say that.
It does.
Yeah, I don't know. I just see a lot of walking around. Oh, wait, there's some platforming. That's cool. But yeah, no farming here.
No. There is crafting, but as far as I can see, no farming. Although I think technically Forager didn't have farming either, but I counted it.
Well then. So, with all these E3 announcements, let's talk about the one game that wasn't at E3. Yeah.
Yeah, so we had an argument about this before Nintendo's Direct about whether or not there would be an Animal Crossing update. I thought there would be. You thought there wouldn't be. You were correct.
Yeah.
But this leads me to think is we've not had a significant update since I think the December update. I think that was because that brought like Snowboy and stuff like that, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. And the winter event, the jingle stuff.
Yes.
Now, so yeah, about half a year now. I mean, it hasn't been neglected. They've done a few updates like items and stuff in the shop, but nothing significant. No features or events per se.
Yeah. So my question is, are they done? What do you think?
As much as I like to, I mean, I've been at length on this show about my issues with Animal Crossing, and as much as I like to heckle them, I don't think they are done 100%. But well, I guess I'll just start with that. No, the answer, I don't think they're done. What about you, Al?
I think probably not, but I don't think I'd put money on it. I wouldn't be surprised if there were still some big updates coming and they were just delayed by the pandemic. And the reason that we got so many updates in a short time, right? We got like 4 or 5 big updates in 8 months?
Yeah.
Was that things were mostly finished there. So they would have had like a good pipeline up to that point. And it doesn't take much to kind of push it over the line.
Mm-hmm.
But also then that would have further delayed things because they wouldn't have been working on new updates if they were just trying to push through. And obviously they had to focus on getting their first year's worth of content and events because obviously that wasn't already at launch in March, right?
Yeah.
So I suspect that's what's happened.
Yeah, that's actually a good point that I wanted to make. Because this released right around the start of pandemic, so I think even if we didn't have a pandemic and things had run, as normal as they did, I think the year of updates we got would have been more or less the same.
Yes,
I think they already had this planned out, and like you said, I think it's impressive that they got it out with such regular, updates, and they managed to stay on top of it. I think it also made a lot of sense because they made $1 bajillion. So it was probably in their best interest to put everything they could, resource-wise, into maintaining that. But yeah, I think that this is the point where we're seeing any pandemic effects in terms of like anything they might have planned to put out other than the holidays and stuff like that. I think this is where we're going to see the delays and all that. So I mean, Animal Crossing it's been around for a while, 20 years almost at this point. But relatively few entries, because these games are meant to release like basically once per console generation or something like that.
Yeah.
And we didn't really have updates until the last one, New Leaf.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, patterns and precedents are, they can be worth something or not. It's hard to say, especially with Nintendo. But in this day and age, like, just looking at Nintendo in general, how they handle their first-party stuff, especially their big names, they're definitely going to milk this, I think. And I do think that I think we'll see something. I'm not 100% sure what or how, because one of the things I put on the show notes is, will it matter? Because like, I don't know the way they've set this up. I think it might be a little hard to introduce anything significant. We've kind of talked about this before, the stuff they can do, but at the end of the day, it's just going to be more decorations, more or less. What I personally would like to see, I think I've mentioned it before in other episodes, I'd like to see something more gameplay-wise, mini games or something like that. But and I am hopeful they will do it. They still have something up their sleeve, but if they do, it's not going to be for a while. I don't think this year, to be quite. I mean, the year's already half over, so I'm going to say definitely not this year. But I don't know.
I think it's interesting because, like, your point about will it matter? Will anyone care? Is an interesting one. Because so I was discussing with a few people. I don't know whether you were involved in that or not, about DLC. And people are always asking for DLC for games. And there was the news Mario Party that was released as a new game rather than DLC. And I find these things interesting because we have no idea how well DLC sells, right? Okay. We just don't have any information on that. We don't get DLC sales numbers for any Nintendo stuff.
Yeah.
And do updates, on the same train of thought, do updates actually make people buy the game? Like, is there anybody going, I might buy Animal Crossing, but I won't do it until they have Brewster's Cafe in it? Nobody's doing that.
No, certainly not. Right. That again, back to my point. Will it matter? You're super right about that. And on even looking back at the New Leaf update, the one big one they had, that was very clearly a cross-marketing thing where, hey, Amiibo exists. We released a few side Animal Crossing games. Look at this. All that stuff now works with New Leaf, huh? Look at that. You buy your Amiibo.
Yeah.
And I think Nintendo in general, they kind of like to do that, where, oh, look, Splatoon just came out. Oh, look at that. It's in Mario Kart now. Look at that. Hey, Splatoon, Mario Kart. You like these games?
And Smash.
And Smash. I mean, yeah, Smash is a whole thing on its own. But yeah. So
I mean, you say that, but like every new character from Nintendo over the last 10 years is in Smash now. Splatoon and Arm's character, and just that is if they create a new character in Nintendo, it's probably going to go in Smash soon.
So what you're saying is that the Animal Crossing update is going to come out in January, and it's going to be alongside the new character in Smash, which is going to be, I don't know, Tortimer's son.
I don't know what the final character in this Smash DLC will be. I would be willing to put money down on it not being an Animal Crossing character.
You said it's gonna be a new gyroid that's gonna come along with Brewster in the cafe, and they're gonna release an Amiibo for it. And I don't know.
That would be more. Would that be more or less ridiculous than Piranha Plant?
No, nothing will ever be more ridiculous than Piranha Plant.
Oh man, I just love how they chose that as like the first edition.
The best.
It's just
the best. But going back to the update stuff, like I'm kind of even tired of comparing to pointing out like what's quote unquote missing. I'm not even talking about necessarily like items or stuff like that, and all the features from previous games are more or less in at this point. But like there are a few holds of like gyroids, going to that whole thing. That was, I mean, they were just items, but they were almost kind of emblematic of the series. A lot of the Nintendo crossover stuff, the Animal Crossing has always gone hard into that, I would say. We got the Mario Day stuff, but who knows? I'm surprised they didn't do something for Zelda with the anniversary and all that. But I mean, for sure we're gonna see more items throughout the year. Like they've been doing little things like that. But I still think there's gonna be something coming. I just don't know when or how. And like I said, it might very well come alongside maybe a new Animal Crossing side game, or a big cross promotion with other games. And who knows when that will happen.
I think the most interesting thing for me was the last update we got was beginning of March, and that updated the events up until the end of June.
Yeah.
And they've changed every event slightly up until this point.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't release one for the next thing, then that'll be the first thing that haven't updated, which is it's fine, but it doesn't really feel like what they're doing, right? It feels like they're trying to make things slightly different. I mean, they'll probably only do this for a few years, right? They're not going to continually, for the next 20 years, change the events. But it feels like that's what they're doing. And if there's an update coming soon, why wasn't it at the E3 Nintendo Direct? That's my question. That feels odd. If they come out with an Animal Crossing update in a week's time, why didn't they just announce that at the E3 Direct?
I think it was I think if they do have something coming, I think it's going to be something minor again, like new items for new holidays.
I agree.
Because they didn't really change any events or holidays. They just added a few extra items you could get, mostly through just buying them. I think if that's the case, where I don't know what the next holiday is, but if the next thing is just getting some more items, it was probably smarter of them not to include that, or else I think people would just felt a little slighted, because you'd have maybe a few seconds saying, "Hey, Animal Crossing, there's a new hat you can buy," especially compared to everything else that happened in that direct. I think it would have been a little underwhelming. So I think that was probably a
Maybe.
smart move.
Yeah.
But
That
let's
would make
see. The
sense.
month is roughly half over, so I think we might get another video towards the end of the month on anything upcoming. But who knows?
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens. It's just I wonder whether they now obviously I don't want to blame them for people's crazy expectations, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I also wonder whether that part of the issue was that they were so consistent with new updates for 8 months.
Yeah.
Right. Every 2 months we got something big.
Yeah. It's hard. It's definitely a weird position because, like I said earlier, I think regardless of everything else that happened in the past year, I think those updates were going to come out around this roughly the same schedule and this look more or less the same. But I think because the pandemic explosion of Animal Crossing and everyone latched on so hard onto that, yeah, I mean that isn't their fault, but it just kind of set up. It was just kind of everything lined up in this unfortunate way where I think they have a lot of pressure now, or expectations. But yeah, I don't know. Well, we just have to see because this is a lot of uncharted territory. We've got a series where there's not much history with updates. We got this perfect storm of everyone adored this game, and now what's going to happen?
It went from ridiculously the opposite direction where there were basically no updates. It was like one update. And then this game came out and now everybody expects an update every 2 months. You know, like, I don't want to blame them, but they did kind of go from 0 to 60 overnight.
Yeah.
And it's funny how people's expectations can change so quickly as well. And they don't go, oh, wow, isn't it amazing that we got all these updates when we've previously had none? They go, oh, where's my next update? People are always looking forward to the next thing rather than actually enjoying what they've got.
Yeah. And what's interesting to me is that, like, even though it's on everyone's mind, kind of emblematic of the whole pandemic and staple of the last year, like, I don't think that many people are still playing Animal Crossing. I still am, unfortunately. I got Stockholm Syndrome in playing the game.
Unfortunately.
Against my will. But in general, like, I know people want it, but I don't think they're gonna even like how much do you want to bet at the end early spring when we got that update through June? How much you want to bet few people even actually got on to see the new stuff or buy the new hat or whatever?
It's because it wasn't Brewster. That's what people want.
If they actually bring Brewster back, I'm gonna be so happy. That does remind me. It's hard for me to say because they never formally announced, and I'm not a data miner, so I can't go in. But I feel like they have kind of tweaked some of those, like a lot of the conversations and stuff like that. Just thinking about stuff we want. I don't know. I don't think you've played recently, Al, but
no, I haven't.
I think they changed the algorithm. I've noticed more variations in the stuff they say, which has been kind of nice. But I don't, it's just a small little thing. I think they are listening, and maybe we will get something. I don't know. I just want Brewster, man. I want gyroids. It's the perfect game for gyroids. I could line them up and do a little concert, and I don't have them.
One track mind. I do think it's. I feel like there was a mention of some updates to conversation, but then also I feel like maybe I'm just thinking about Story of Seasons, Pioneers of Olive Town, because they also had that, and I can't remember what's real and what's not. But I do, I think I agree with your point of, is it actually going to change anything for anyone? And that's probably what the conversations that they're having inside Nintendo is like, is this actually worth it? Do we actually have something we really want to do? Difficult.
I will say, I think they're probably working on some sort of Animal Crossing side game more than anything else.
Right.
because the name, I think right now where we are, I think the name is worth more than the actual game right now.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the tricks with or the challenges with this game, Animal Crossing. It's hard to bring people back in or to get them interested in. Because like Smash Bros, right? You can release your new character. Release Minecraft Steve, and there are people who actually have a reason to want to play. In Animal Crossing,
definitely.
If you release Brewster, like I'm super happy, and people who know Brewster are, but those people probably already have Animal Crossing, so it's gonna be hard to see. Actually, this raises a good question, and we were kind of dancing around it. Do you think they would ever release like a paid update?
I don't think so. I don't think. I think it's very rare for anyone to announce a paid DLC after release. The only game I know of recently that's done that, other than the fact that Smash really announced a second one afterwards, I think the only game that's done that recently is Pokemon, and they did it 3 months afterwards. I think the idea of like over a year after release going, oh, here's a paid DLC. I don't think anyone can do that.
I actually think Nintendo does that quite a lot. Maybe not like a year,
Really?
but yeah. Xenoblade, what was it? Xenoblade Chronicles 2 got paid DLC. I'm trying to think. Some of the Fire Emblem games have paid expansions and they are very rarely announce these things at release or near release. Breath of the Wild had that paid DLC.
That was announced before release, though, wasn't it?
I don't think it was.
I think it was.
I have to go back and check. We have to check, but I think,
or if it was after release, it was pretty soon after release.
Maybe pretty soon after. Yes, but
I feel like these things are either done before release or within the first kind of 3 or 4 months.
I don't know. I mean, for sure the time length is a lot longer than normally would be. But I'll chalk that up to COVID if it were to happen. So I could.
Yeah, no, it was before release.
Oh, really? Huh.
I've got the information on Zelda.com. Before release, I think this was in January, says starting from when The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild launches on the March of the 3rd, players will be able to purchase an expansion pass.
Oh yeah, I remember you got the Switch shirt if you ordered in advance. Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I honestly don't think though Animal Crossing will release a paid update either. But I don't know, just pointing that out, bringing that up.
I certainly don't think they would have done it and loads of these free updates. Not that they wouldn't have anything free, but I feel like if they were going to go the paid DLC route, they might have gone more like the way that Pokemon did it, where you get a little bit with the update if you didn't have the DLC, but most of it you get with the DLC.
I mean, I don't know, because I know they're quote unquote updates, but they were all holidays and events and stuff, which was kind of a big thing in Animal Crossing. It'd be crazy to lock that behind paid.
Well, yeah, that's why I don't think they would have done that in the first place. But I'm saying if, I think the events would have been free, for example, but all of the extra features might not have been. Like farming would probably be one of the only new features that would have been in the free update. Like the art and the diving. If they were going to do a paid DLC, it would be those things. Like I couldn't.
Well, would it? Because I'm thinking like what I mean, because Animal Crossing takes place on a little island. What if you pay to go to like a whole new island to do, I don't know, mini game land or whatever?
I just feel like it would be hard to justify no matter what it was.
Oh, for sure it will be.
I think that's part of the problem.
I'm just exploring the thought, but I don't think they'll ever do that. But we'll see. At the end of the day, that's all we can really say. We'll see.
Always we'll see.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But who knows? Maybe they'll release an update after we've released this episode, or between recording and release. So if you're listening to this and going, "Oh, there's this update coming," we didn't know about it. All right, calm down. We can't know everything.
Yeah. Oh. We're pretty good at predicting stuff. We always release. I'm always. Anytime you hear my voice on there, that means a Smash character is incoming. That's what that means. I have a
Oh,
pretty good
dear.
track record with that.
Did you hear my greenhouse episode with my predictions for E3?
I didn't finish it. What did you? I didn't get to the Smash. Did you say something on Smash?
I did say Smash. I predicted the character would. I think I put my money on Crash.
No.
Just because I was like, I have no idea. I'll just say a random one. Yeah, I basically predicted everything that did not happen in the Nintendo Direct.
To be fair, I don't think anyone could have predicted Nintendo's E3 this year because there were some surprises in that one.
If you want to hear our thoughts about that, that will be in the Greenhouse episode releasing next week, which you can get if you subscribe to the Patreon.
Speaking of paid DLC.
Oh dear.
The Greenhouse is so good. In fact, did you not recently release a free demo episode of you discussing Eurovision with our friend Cody, which was a banger of an episode.
If you haven't listened to that, I will put a link in the show notes to it. It's on Patreon, but it's available for all. It was a good episode where I explain, as a European, I explain Eurovision to Cody, who is an American and had never experienced any Eurovision before.
Yeah. I when I listened to that, I was totally relatively unfamiliar. I heard you guys talk about it, but I didn't know. I learned about Epic Sax Guy, and man, that was rad.
Classic.
Give Al money and learn about Epic Sax Guy.
You can subscribe to our Patreon from our website, harvestseason.club, or there's a link in the show notes to go directly to it. Kevin, where can they find you on the internets?
I'm mostly on Twitter. I have a personal Twitter at KoopaPrez where I mostly retweet stuff. And I have an art Twitter at Sprider Squared where I have been inactive, I won't lie. But I do cool pixel art stuff, and sometimes cool people see it and retweet me, and that's cool. Yeah. All right, that's all I got.
You can find me on Twitter at TheScottBot. That's Scott with one T and bot like robot. You can also follow the podcast at THSPod on Twitter. And until next time, have a good harvest.
Have a good wait for maybe updates. I don't know. We'll see!
The Harvest Season is created by Rochelle Delaney and Al McKinley, with support from our pro farmer level patrons, Kevin and Stuart. Our art is done by Micah the Brave, and our music is done by Nick Burgess. Feel free to visit our website, harvestseason.club, for show notes and links to things we discussed in this episode. Thanks for listening.